I am Reynaldo Piaconga Jr., grade 12 from UMS Opal.
And I'm Mark Anthony Estrada. We are presenting the position paper dropped in AYAP. So, the title is Examine the Frequency and Effect of Social Media Abuse in Digital Age. Here's the introduction. Smartphones and social media platforms have become an essential aspect of everyday life in the current digital era. Especially for kids and young adults, new patterns of online behavior have been produced by the quick rise in users and the expanding range of social media applications. But this extensive use has also had a number of unfavorable effects. Risky social media practices and internet abuse have become major problems that impact your young people's psychological health in addition to their social habits. Anxiety, sadness, and other behavioral disorder can emerge as a result of prolonged exposure to online environments. Furthermore, university students who use social media exclusively frequently experience social isolation, poor academic achievements, and trouble sustaining positive relationships in real life. Therefore, addressing the impact of social media abuse on both individual development and society at large requires an understanding of its prevalence and consequences. According to Yunal et al. 2023, smartphones are becoming increasingly necessary for kids and young people these days, especially with the growing number of users among this way. The growing user base and variety of social media programs have made behavioral issues among young people inevitable. As a result, that issue is harmful. Social media use and online misuse has surfaced. Young people's social habits are impacted, but psychiatric issues are also a result. Furthermore, while university-age students face significant social challenges, their academic career also have setback. The rise of online abuse and the determined effect of social media's widespread use. Social media has become a new venue for bullying which was formerly limited to playground. Although online social network apps have stepped up their efforts to combat online abuse, the problem is still so widespread that many young people continue to experience a variety of forms of abuse on a regular basis. Salawu et al. 2022. And here analysis. A. What is the root cause of an abuse? Social media is now frequently the first place people look for information. Social media contribute positively to national agendas, general issues, research, new ideas, entertainments, shopping, immediately communication, and collaboration. Overuse of social media is many facets of life, undoubtedly detrimental. It seriously deforms people's minds, especially teenagers or what we refer to as the young group. Hidel and Central 2014. From this study, social media is the main means for rapidly obtain information. Based on the study, social media's beneficial contribution include quick communication, collaboration, entertainment, shopping, research, new ideas, national agendas, and general issues. These are the most frequently sought after outcome. This study suggests that users or individuals who use social media exclusively may experience negative effects, particularly among young individuals or what we refer to as the youth group. this leads to significant psychological distortion or abuse. The study sought to determine the prevalence of cyberbullying and victimization among college students, as well as whether the degree of problematic internet use among students could be used to distinguish between different levels of cyberbullying and victimization. Additionally, the study aimed to investigate the connection between cyberbullying and victimization and year level, income level, and genders, according Ganoltas and Metsut 2022. The study seeks to determine the prevalence of cyberbullying and victimization among college students. It also looks at whether kids who use the internet in unhealthy or problematic ways are more likely to be victims or bullies in cyberbullying. Additionally, the study investigates the potential associations between experiences of cyberbullying or victimization and specific criteria like gender, income level, and year level. B. On what grounds can a typical case of domestic abuse reach the judicial court? There is growing pressure on social media corporations to answer for the impact their mobile apps have on youth. Robert Kim examines the case in Social Media Addictions, which combines several lawsuits against social media firms for their addictive qualities. The cases highlight the conflict between free speech and product responsibilities legislation. What features of a product's design are the subject to produce liability laws, and what are the subject to speech laws, and how much may businesses be held accountable for the effect of speech on their performance. Kim 2024. The growing legal and social pressure on social media corporations to accept accountable for the harm their platforms to young users in the main emphasis of this topic. In particular, it, it is looks at the illegal controversy that is brought to light in Robert Kim's 2024 case study. In social media addictions, which combines several cases against social media companies, determining which features of social media platforms are protected as form of expressing and which may be legally challenged as harmful product designs in the main concern, which is the conflict between free speech protections and product liability regulations. According to the thesis, social media corporation might be held responsible for both the manipulative and addictive design elements of their programs that lead to psychological harm, as well as information that users share. This brings up significant issues about users' safety, cooperation, responsibility, and striking a balance between innovation and regulation in the digital era. Although bullying has long seen as a severe problem, the emergence of social media and digital communication has given the issue a new facet. Cyberbullying. To combat the rise in the online harassment, the Philippines has implemented a number of laws, legal remedies, and regulations. This article truly examines the Philippines legal system, the remedies accessible to victims of cyberbullying, the complaint procedure, and possible sanction for offenders. Romualdez Respicios 2025. Republic Act Number 10175, Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. Scope: the Cybercrime Prevention Act provides level grant to penalties cyber-related offenses including cyber libel, cyber harassment, and other forms of online abuse. Key provision relevant to cyberbullying. Cyberbullying libel, Sec 4, C4, punishment, defamatory statements made online. If a person's reputation is harmed due to malicious statement published on social media or any digital platforms, the offender may be held liable for cyber libel. Unlawful or prohibited acts related to computer misuse offenses like cyber-talking, unauthorized access, or identity theft may also come into play in the bully misuse digital tools. Penalties. Generally, cyber libel can carry a penalty 1 degree higher than traditional libel. Under the revised penal code, imprisonment can reach prisons correctional 6 months and 1 day up to 6 years to highly dependent on the circumstances. Is letter C. How does peer play a role in the victim's decisions and how does the abusers utilize it? Social media has given survivors a valuable forum to talk about their experience and spread awareness of abuse, but it has also created a culture that frequently values dispute over empathy. Discussions usually turns into fights about blame and punishment rather than encouraging genuine dialogue centered on accountability, prevention, and the healing. This propensity obstructs brutally dialogue and oversimplifies the complicated nature of abuses or abusive relationship, relationships. As a result, it is crucial to promote ethical and knowledgeable discussions on social media, emphasizing empathy, learning, and long-term solutions over empirical online arguments. According to Norris et al. 2023, victim or survivors sharing their experiences online can create valuable opportunities for awareness, education, and solidarity, but these shared accounts often leave other young viewers who may also be victims or at risk feeling confused, anxious, or fearful as they question whether such situation could happen to them. This topic highlights how social media has been a powerful yet happen to them created space for victims, especially young people, to encounter the process real stories or abuse in toxic relationships. Social media discussion frequently turn divided, divisive, and combative rather than encouraging constructive dialogue focus on victims' protection and healing. The thesis suggests that while social media provides victims with the platforms to speak out and be heard, the current online cultures often fails to provide the meaningful support, empathy, and constructive dialogue that victims truly need. Rather, it tends to simplify customers' experiences and minimize significant problems to transient online disputes. Research concurred that cyberbullying is a serious social problem that necessitates both full victim support and accountable from offenders. Online harassment has become more and more common, which is indicated of how easily digital platforms can be abused to take advantage of people's weaknesses. You can see while pretending to be anonymous. According to Alexander et al. 2025, the effects which might range from self-harm or emotional traumas are not coincidental rather than they are the result of intentional acts intending to inflict suffering. This emphasis how urgent, strong regulations on instruction and social media users' ethical awareness are needed. Therefore, combating cyberbullying should prioritize not just victim protection but also holding preparation accountable and promoting an online culture or empathy and accountable. This subject highlights and serious effects of cyberbullying on victims as well as the crucial part of abuser action and the minor play in inflicting harm. Alexander et al. 2025 claimed that effects of cyberbullying can range from severe outcomes like self-harm and suicide to mental distress. These negative consequences are frequently the result of initial acts by those who target, harass, or take advantage of weaker members of society using digital media. The declaration emphasizes how anyone can fall victims of abuse who prey on their emotional fears, powerful disparities, or online anonymity. According to the thesis, cyberbullying is a severe social problem can calls for increasing accountability in addition to victim support and prevention and consequences for abusers whose behaviors are the roots of the problem.
Arguments. Why is abuse a controversial topic in media? Researchers believe that abuse is still a contentious topic in the media because it touches on issues of public opinion, ethics, and accountability. Although media attention is crucial for promoting dialogue and increasing awareness, it frequently simplifies complicated realities and transforms delicate situations into sensationalized events. Saidi and Banay 2022 point out that the digital world increases the possibility of communication as well as the danger of negative conduct like cyberbullying and invasions of privacy. When abuse is depicted in the media, arguments about who should be held accountable, the victim, the platform, or the abuser, often arise. This conflict can skew public perception and feed polarization. Therefore, rather than dividing the public, media coverage of abuse should aim for balance by prioritizing empathy and the truth over controversy, and encouraging thoughtful dialogue that results in accountability and significant change. Since, since it highlights the conflict between the right to free speech and the need to safeguard people from harm, abuse is still a very delicate and divisive subject in the media. The increasing variety of online misconduct, including harassment, defamation, disinformation, and impersonation, highlights the complexity of digital abuse in contemporary society, as highlighted by Chun et al. 2020. But the media frequently finds it difficult to present these topics impartially. Coverage can become exaggerated, resulting in divisive viewpoints and unjustified blaming. Rather than raising knowledge and understanding, because of this oversimplification, viewers are unable to understand the more complex social, psychological, and technological elements that go into online abuse. Consequently, I think that rather than promoting misinformation or division, the media should place a higher priority on ethical reporting that helps victims, promotes educated debates, and hold offenders and internet platforms accountable. Letter B. What is the general public's views on portraying abusive relationships of any kind on various platforms? The way that abusive relationships are portrayed in the media has a big impact on how the public thinks and feels, because it may either increase victim awareness and empathy, or skill perception by spreading false information and sensationalism. There are differing opinions among the general population about how abusive relationships are portrayed on different channels, indicating both awareness and unease. Many people believe that these depictions are crucial to exposing the truth of domestic abuse, which goes beyond physical assault to encompasses emotional and financial control. According to Adams, Russell et al. 2023, economic suppression plays a systematic and damaging role in abusive relationships, as victims often experience significant declines in earnings and employment upon cohabiting with abusive partners. This demonstrates how abuse can subtly impair a victim's autonomy and capacity to flee dangerous circumstances. The public is concerned that media portrayals of these realities might occasionally misrepresent them, either by highlighting abuse for entertainment purposes or by ignoring its socio-economic aspects. Despite the importance of bringing such facts to light, I think that in order to promote empathy, education, and social consciousness, sensitive and truthful depictions are essential. In the right hands, they can aid in educating the public about more nuanced aspects of abuse. In the wrong hands, however, they run the risk of reinforcing stereotypes or downplaying those of victims. Media outlets must therefore tackle this subject with moral rectitude and a strong sense of civic duty. The way abusive relationships are portrayed in the media has a significant impact on how the general public views abuse, because it may either highlight the complexity of violence or reinforce preconceptions through bias and exaggeration. There are differing views among general public on how abusive relationships are portrayed on social media and digital platforms. Many believe that these depictions are essential for bringing attention to and illuminating covert forms of abuse, which frequently go beyond physical assault to involve psychological, emotional, and technological control. Dragiewicz et al. 2018 claim that digital media are crucial in mediating and magnifying gendered violence patterns, especially through what they refer to as technology-facilitated coercive control (TFCC), a type of abuse that has its roots in online surveillance, power, and manipulation. Some people criticize the media for dramatizing or misrepresenting these experiences, which can result in desensitization or false information, while others value how these depictions highlight the realities of abuse and encourage accountability. In my opinion, fostering empathy, education, and fruitful public discourse requires the proper depiction of abusive relationships. In order to avoid perpetuating stereotypes and undermining sincere calls for prevention and justice, media outlets must make sure that their portrayals of abuse are truthful, moral, and based on empathy for the experiences of victims. Letter C. How can media exposure potentially affect how the general public's views on classic cases of abuse? The public's comprehension and assessment of typical abuse instances are greatly influenced by media exposure, since how material is presented, highlighted, or kept quiet has direct impact on how victims, offenders, and accountability are perceived. Media coverage has a significant and frequently negative impact on how the general public perceives abuse incidents. The constructions of narratives surrounding abuse, who is given a voice, and which tales are told are all within the control of the media. Reeves 2015 asserts that this authority gives media outlets, including newspapers, considerable latitude in influencing public opinions through editorial bias and selective coverage, as noted by Lloyd and Ramon 2017 and previous researchers like Suthill and Walby 1991. The media has frequently promoted gendered representations that holds victims, especially women, responsible for the violence they endure, and occasionally even hold them accountable for starting their own abuse. In addition to skewing public perception, this kind of reporting feeds negative preconceptions that downplay the seriousness of gender-based and domestic abuse. Exposure to the media can either help or hurt societal advancement. In my opinion, coverage that is fair, accurate, and sympathetic has the power to inform viewers, spur legislative change, and advance justice. Sensationalize, or bias content, however, runs the risk of normalizing abuse, eroding victim empathy, and influencing public opinion in ways that shield rather than expose offenders. Therefore, ethical media methods and responsible journalism are crucial to making sure that coverage of abuse empowers and informs the public rather than misinforms or divides it. Exposure to the media, especially on social and digital platforms, can significantly impact how the public views traditional abuse cases because it can redraw the lines between the public and private domains. Mold narratives of responsibility and change societal perceptions of both victims and offenders. Social media's development has increased public involvement in abuse issues and made it harder to distinguish between private experience and public conversation. Recent research indicates that conflicts over social media use, including public commentary, digital expression, and profiling, are a reflection of a larger breakdown of the conventional lines separating private and public life. According to McDonald et al. 2015, this disruption influences how abuse is talked about and understood online. With media platforms acting as both forums for advocacy and confrontation, social media changes how society perceives abuse cases in the same way that it changes workplace relationships. It gives survivors the confidence to tell their stories, but it also exposes them to criticism, misunderstanding, and online harassment. Additionally, media exposure can divide viewers, with some being motivated by activism and empathy and others by skepticism or blame. Media exposure, in my opinion, has the potential to hold offenders accountable and draw long overdue attention to the realities of abuse, but it also runs the risk of skewing public opinion through bias, sensationalism, and false information. Therefore, rather than using victims' experiences to garner attention or stir up controversy, media organizations and social media platforms should uphold their ethical obligations by encouraging fair, truthful, and courteous representations that educate the public and provide help. Conclusion. A. On what grounds do you stand? We firmly believe that social media abuse is a severe and expanding problem that requires users and digital platforms to be aware of it and take ethical responsibility for it. Our stance is supported by studies that demonstrate how social media facilitates new kinds of harassment, manipulation, and coercive control, in addition to providing platforms for speech and interaction. Dragiewicz et al. 2018, Adams-Prassel et al. 2023. We firmly believe that the right to free speech should never be used as an excuse for abuse, harassment, or exploitation. Rather, social media should serve as a forum for truth, safety, and respect. It is the responsibility of both individuals and organizations to acknowledge the actual psychological, emotional, and even financial effects of cyberbullying and to react to it with compassion and knowledge. B. Is portrayal of abuse on various platforms a good thing or a bad thing? Depending on how it is portrayed, social media abuse may be both positive and negative. Such depictions are beneficial when done properly, because they increase public awareness, give victims the confidence to speak up, and promote stricter digital ethics and preventative measures. They can, however, be detrimental if used carelessly, promoting online animosity and victim blaming, sensationalizing trauma, or disseminating false information. As a result, how abuse is portrayed on social media needs to be carefully balanced. It should educate rather than sensationalize, encourage empathy rather than conflict, and inform rather than exploit. In the end, social media may be a forum for activism, healing, and significant change if is depicted responsibility.